Hello everybody. Let's now continue with using code-first migrations. So what we're going to see in this lecture, we're going to start with how we can do changes in our domain classes and what's happening after that. After that, we'll see the solution of the issue that appeared at first point. So we're going to see what is code-first migrations. After that, we'll see different database migration strategies, how to use code-first migrations, and what is seeding the database. So, when you do some changes in your domain, what actually happened to our models? Well, Entity Framework compare our model with model in _migration history table. By default, Entity Framework only creates a database and don't do any changes after that. So, using code-first migration, we can manage difference between models and database. Here you can see what's happening if you change the model and this is not updated inside your database. So you receive invalid operation exception. And for this thing are coming code-first migration, where they actually can automatically migrate table for us and update them. So enable first. Here we got code-first migration, so we need to enable code-first migration. How to do it? Open Package Manager console and run enable migrations command. Basically, this will create some initial jumpstart code for auto migration. We got two different types of migration. We got automatic migrations, where inside our code we're setting parameter automatic migrations enabled is equal to true. Okay, and we got code-based migrations providing full control. So here we got separate C# code file for every migration. So what are different database migration strategies? We got create database if not exists. So this is the default one. When it tries to connect, if database doesn't exist, it will create it. After that, we have drop create database if model change. So on any time that you change your model, for example, your class person, and add another property or remove something, this will delete the whole database and recreate it. Basically, in some cases you might need that, but pay attention that we lose all the data when change the model. So if you drop the database, everything will be lost. We got drop create database always, which is great for automated integration testing because always we'll just recreate the database from zero. And also we have migrate database to latest version. Basically, this option uses our migrations. So this is the best option because whenever I update some class person, for example, public class person, okay, and here I got some public string first name, and I decide that I want public string last name. So that's something new inside my table, which still the database doesn't have. So if I use this strategy, it will just go inside my database, create new column, and all that will be fine, without dropping, without any recreating or anything like that. So we can implement iDatabase initializer if we want custom migration strategy, but still we can use the default ones because they're fine. Now, using code-first migrations. First, we need to enable code-first migrations. After that, we need to tell the Entity Framework to use our migrations with code, which is happening, for example, in app.config. Here what we have. With code, we can say database.setInitializer. Here we are saying new migrate database to latest version, which is your database strategy. And we're providing two parameters, our DB context and configuration. This configuration file is basically coming when you enable migrations, and here you're setting your database here you're setting your settings for your migration. For example, we can configure automatic migration, and this will allow us to delete or change the properties. So here inside this configuration, as I said, you got settings for your migrations. And here how constructor look like. So usually we got two main properties: automatic migrations enabled and automatic migrations data loss allowed. So on test environment, you should have both of them, but one of them should be for sure to false when you're on production. And in fact, the good practice is to keep both of them on false, because on production things shouldn't change. That's fine for test, that's fine for staging environment, but keep in mind that for production, that's not good practice. Seeding the database. Now, during a migration, we can seed the database with some data using seed method. What's that? Well, every time that your database is created or some migration has been done, after the migration is done, Entity Framework is calling one method, which is seed. What's the purpose of this method? Well, if you want to seed something in your database, so you can add some initial data. You can, let's say, just do something to add them, and you're going to have the test data. So if you're using create and drop approach, well, every time you drop it, after that you're not going to have any data. So you can use seed method and say, okay, for 20 elements, I want to create new person, and after that I want to create new address, and etc, etc. So using that seed method. And here how does it look like? So you got protected override void seed, which is receiving our DB context. This method is inside configuration.cs file, which we just saw 1 minute ago. So this method will be called after migrating to the latest version, and you can use the dbset.addOrUpdate extension method to avoid creating duplicate seed data. And here what we can say: context.tags.addOrUpdate, and here we're providing new tag with some text. Here again you can see that your text, for example, could be anything. That right now is in Cyrillic, and you can see that still this will be added inside your table without any problems. So you're not going to have issues if you're using multiple languages with Entity Framework and your databases. So this method will be run every time since Entity Framework 5. Thank you for watching.